from Let's Eat Malaysian. Now today I want to show you some of my plants in my garden. I have here my curry plant. Now I bought this from Bunnings and it was a really very small plant. When we had it, the leaves actually dropped off in winter and we thought the plant had died. But in spring it started to sprout again, and this tree now is actually about 8 years old. Now to keep this tree flourishing, when it gets to this age, you will probably see little buds of flowers coming up. What you do is you pluck off those flowers and new leaves will come up. So that is how you keep this nice tree from growing well. And of course you have to trim it occasionally. So there you have it, my curry plant. It's 8 years old. This is my lemon tree, and this is again about 8 years old, but I think lemon trees grow pretty well. Okay, let's move on. This is my Kaffir lime plant, and you wouldn't believe it if I told you that it started off as a seed. We managed to get a Kaffir lime fruit, and we tried to grow this from seed, and it was tough, but it worked. As you can see, I now have 3 of these plants, and this Kaffir lime plant is about 8 years old too. Now this is very hard to get, and even if you were to buy it from the supermarkets, it's quite expensive. They only give you a few leaves. Now if you get them from the supermarkets, it's only in about one leaf, a few leaves in a bunch. Now if you want to preserve your Kaffir lime, because they dry out in the open, is to wrap them in foil and keep them in the freezer. This is not very nice looking, isn't it? Now I have here is Vietnamese mint. Vietnamese mint is normally used in sour dishes and also in laksa. Now this plant is very sensitive. If you're growing it, try not to actually pull out a root of the plant. Let's say you want to give it to a friend, because the laksa plant tend to be a bit sensitive in the sense that when you pull out one of its roots, part of it will sort of start to die off. So this is what do you call it? Easy to grow, but a sensitive plant. And you can get this sometimes from Bunnings. They sell it there in pots. Now, these are very big, but too old to eat because it's coming to winter. This is actually pak choy. Can you see how big it is? It's no longer edible because when it comes to this stage, the leaves are very bitter. So this is just the last of the plants that we were growing. Did I say it was pak choy? This is actually siu pak choy, I think, or choy sam. Anyway. Now this used to be bayam, or what you call it, the amaranth, which I think I may have taught you in one of my recipes. Now this is no longer edible because, as you can see, it's already starting to seed. But what I normally do for each season is to collect the seeds so that it will grow again the next year. Now, how you collect the seeds is if you pull out this plant, when it's turning brown, you can see the little seeds in here. That is one you want, and the seeds have to be black. This is very hard to find in Rockingham, but if you were to go to Perth and to the Asian markets, sometimes you can find this Malaysian spinach sold there, which we call bayam. Now this is lemongrass, and I would suggest that if you have some space in your garden, plant 2 or 3 plants of lemongrass, because this is very expensive in the shops, and they grow easily, and you have to wait for it to be about this size before you start to get your rewards from it. And what you do is that for lemongrass, you only use the bottom of the plant, which is more or less near to the roots. I have here basil, and of course basil is easy to grow. This is probably English basil, right? Sadly, we bought this eggplant from Bunnings, and we did try to grow this, hoping to get some fruits, but unfortunately they flower very well, but we have not managed to get any fruits from it. Look at my feet now. Here we have English mint, and this can grow very well. Now if you don't want this mint to spread all around your garden, put it in a pot. Here I have pandanus, and pandanus is very good for certain dishes, like if you were to do nasi lemak, which we call rich coconut rice. You have to use this. Some people might use pandan essence, but that is not as good and as natural as the pandanus plant. This I managed to buy this plant in Canning Vale Sunday market, and you don't often see it there, and it's not very cheap, the plant, but we've had it for 4 or 5 years now, and it never stops growing. We did try to get one of the small babies, as you can see here, the babies that come out, and we tried to replant it on the ground. It couldn't survive though, sadly, so it has to remain in the pot. Now this is my calamansi tree, or what you call it, the oriental lime, and in Malay we call it the limau kasturi. Now these are still green, you don't usually use them, but when they come to become when they start to turn yellow, that's when you are able to use them. Now sadly, I've seen a few of these plants around Perth, and Australians don't know how to use this plant. They call it the ornamental lime, but this is very good if you're trying to make a tom yum, Thai seafood sour soup from scratch. So to get the sourness, we use this limau kasturi, which is the we will call it the Malaysian lime. I have here Asian chives. They're not like the English chives. These are flat-leaved chives. This is mainly used in Chinese cooking and also in Vietnamese spring rolls. Grows easily, if you have the seeds. And I really love this chives because I use it for some of my noodle soups, which I will show you one day.